Hear the stories of men and women switching hustles and escaping the odds through entrepreneurship after prison. Not only will these stories inspire you, but also unlock business tips for financial freedom. Let's get it.
Thank you all for tuning in to Escaping the Odds podcast. Today I have a unique guest here with me today. I got Tim Armour. He hasn't been incarcerated. As you all know, that on the Escaping the Odds show, we like to highlight men and women who come home from prison or some kind of incarceration, and they are successful business people, right? But on today, we got you, Mr. Tim Armour, and pretty much Tim, he works for an organization called NACA, that's NACA.org, and they are a housing... .com. Right. Glad you caught that. And I'm going to let him explain exactly what NACA.com is. It's a great program. I'm in the program, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to actually bring him on the show, because I really feel that this program can be really, really valuable, especially for men and women who's coming off of prison as it relates to buying their first home or just buying another property. So we're going to get all into that, the nuts and bolts of buying a piece of property, why it's a benefit, especially for the men and women who's coming home, such as myself. I'm currently in the program, as I mentioned already. I just want to be able to allow him to drop some jewels. He's very knowledgeable, been in the game for many years, and he really cares about the community and just really being able to provide a solution or a tool to buy back the block. And so that's what we on. Thanks a lot for coming through, man.
Man, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I feel like it should be some applause in the background with that kind of intro. You know what I'm saying? Like, where's the applause music in the background? That was super dope, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
Yeah, NACA stands for Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America.
Okay.
Right? NACA. And the best thing about NACA is that anybody who wants to buy a house can own a house. I'm saying that, but of course there's some peculiars to go with there, right? Some particulars, right?
Yeah, as always.
Right, anything, because buying a house is not as hard as you think it is. It's just tedious, and sometimes you have to change your lifestyle habits to be able to afford what you want, right? So
now you saying a house. Well, what if I want to buy a duplex?
A duplex.
Or a 3-unit or a 4-unit.
Or 4-unit or a mixed use, right?
Okay.
So it's a condo, single family, 2-unit, 3-unit, 4-unit, mixed use. Yeah, that's in single family, right? Condo, single family, and all the buildings.
Okay.
A mixed use is something where you have a property you can rent out downstairs that's for a business owner, like a barbershop.
Okay.
You know, clothing store, knick-knack, whatever you want to do.
Right.
Robotics, computers, entertainment, right?
Okay.
You do play, just kind of stop right here.
Yeah, so best of both worlds. You got residential and you got
upstairs
commercial.
Residential, or in the back, or wherever there's residential as well too.
Okay.
So there are those, like sometimes in this area right here, you might have 4 flats that are just.
You talking about
units.
Chicago?
Yeah, in Chicago. No, in this area where we are right now too, especially.
Okay.
This is the what's the name of this area right here right now?
Kind of like Pilsen or something?
Pilsen, Pilsen for sure, right? So some of these buildings are older, so you have apartments that are split. So you might have a storefront in the front, an apartment above that, and then back in the back of that, 2 other apartments.
Okay.
So that would be a mixed-use apartment, right? A mixed-use building.
Okay.
Where you have 3 units coming in. Well, 4 units are income, but 3 units are rental income, and 1 is a commercial income. You can't buy commercial property. Like you can't go out and buy an old food for less store, right? That's commercial property.
Or like a 6-unit or a 5-unit.
Exactly, that's commercial. It's commercial because you're more than 4.
Okay.
4, you consider because as a 4-unit property, you still consider that you can live there personally too as well. A 6-unit property, 5 units, you don't have to live there.
Okay.
That's the difference with that, and that's how the loans change too because it's owner occupied.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, and so. How did you all get started? How did you get started in NACA? Give us a history of the whole NACA program, and even your history with you as joining the organization.
Right. I was a baby when NACA started out. When NACA started out, because what they did was back east when they first started having the predatory lending, there was a hotel, and our CEO, Bruce Marks, was helping them with some business that they were having, right? And as they were dealing with business, he was actually helping the waiters, the waitresses, and the core workers of the hotel industry out east. And they had all, out east there was a mortgage company, I won't say the name right now, right? But there was a mortgage company, and they were just fleecing people, left and right, fleecing
them. What you mean?
By fleecing is like giving them adjustable rate mortgages, meaning that you might sign and the rate on your mortgage might be a 4.5 as you sign. So therefore PITI or your mortgage rate might be $1,200, right?
Okay.
But then as the rates jump up, increase, they're adjustable rate mortgages based up off how the market shifts or based how the company puts the documents in line to shift, right? So at 5-1, 3-1, that means the first year you're paying this much, the 5th year you're paying this much, the 7th year you're paying more and more and more.
Right.
That means your adjustable rate is adjusting upward. So your mortgage will go from $1,200, $1,235, $1,350, $1,750, $1,800 in a matter of 3 to 5 years almost, or depending on what it.
Now, couldn't it be a benefit for someone to get into an adjustable rate mortgage? Like, say they know they want to sell that property in 5 years.
Well, I mean, anything in real estate depends on your goal and your time zone of what you want to do, right? So if you're going to an adjustable rate, could be that, well, I'm going to buy this house now. We'll have kids, right? And my kids are in high school. So we're going to buy a house in this area because this school is better, but I'm only going to buy this house for the 4 years my kids are in school, or the 5 if you got 2, right? So all you do an adjustable rate mortgage because in my mind, that 5th year, the house is going to be up for sale anyway.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
that mortgage that pops in won't hit me because I'm going to be out of that deal.
Gotcha.
So that's how you got to play the game. You play the calendar, and it's all about what you want and your goal. And that's what I tell people all the time. What's your goal? You know what I mean? Like, what do you want to do, and how do you want to do it?
Right.
Right. So what they did was they were helping the people because they were losing their homes, and this was in a big crunch. And that's when Bruce actually termed the phrase predatory lending, because it was predatory, right? You're somewhere in the shadows.
Yeah.
You're being predatory, like, you know, you
Super
stalking
shady.
somebody, right? So what they did was it was a bait and switch. Right?
Okay.
Hey, come no money down, decide such a percent interest, adjustable rates, don't worry about it, you know, and people basically had paper loans. Like, there was no documentation, there was no proof. There was no proof that you could afford this loan.
So, like, stated docs.
Exactly.
They called it.
Right. So bank statements, running your W-2s, tax transcripts, all the things that prove that the money you say you have, right? So these people got loans, just rate mortgages, and it was a shambles, and people knew it.
Yeah.
I mean, when you really think about it, a lot of people who lost their homes had Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. Those are government entities.
Yeah.
So somebody in the government knew this was going on. But nobody ever went to jail for that, though.
Right.
Except a couple of brothers who have mortgage companies. So people who got hit were the ones in our communities who was like, oh, I see the game. Let me get in, right?
I got a good brother right now serving 17 years
Yes,
for
sir.
Mortgage.
Man, people don't
fraud.
get it.
Yeah, definitely.
It was like there's a couple of big homes that are built that are empty in the Chicago neighborhoods right now because the brothers and sisters that was putting in the work and was getting that money had homes that were built beautiful, lavish, and when the time came for the hit came and got them.
Definitely.
Some left.
Yeah, definitely.
You know? So as they did that, they started just protesting, man. I think Fleet Mortgages was one of them. And they started protesting all these companies, Chase Bank, Fleet Mortgage, Bank of America. We protested them. We protested Citibank. I mean, like, people are protesting now for George Floyd, and they're going to these governors' houses and these CEO houses. We were doing the same thing back in the day. We were getting on buses. Bruce was getting money. I mean, they were really doing a grassroots organization, but for the purpose of fairness and housing mortgages, right? That's what it was all about. Because people didn't care, man. Like, most people, like, the unemployment rate could be 13%, but we know in the black community it's 23%, right? Because nobody care about us. So when you give numbers out, your numbers are never indicative of the truth in our communities. It never is.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, so going through the whole process with NACA, like, what does that look like? I mean, I'm actually going through the program right now, so I know I just want the audience to kind of get an idea of what does it look like.
Well, first, what is NACA, right?
Yeah.
That's the first thing. What is NACA?
Yeah.
NACA is a mortgage lending product, right? It's a tool, but we're based in a non-for-profit philosophy. So we're not a for-profit. We're not like Chase. We're not any kind of mortgage lending paper you can loan about. We're not Wintrust Bank.
Okay.
You know, right? Our thing is not to be in this to make money. Our thing is NACA as an entity is to be here to make change, right? To invoke change and to make sure that financially, if you want to make money, if you want to become more stable in a housing market, if you want to be in the housing market, then we're going to make sure that our inroads are such that you're going to be able to buy a house you can afford that you won't lose. And that's one of the main things too, right? That you won't lose the home. So NACA is a mortgage product that's made especially for people who've been closed out of the housing market. right? So traditionally, it's black and brown people, right? But I have everybody come to my doors. I have Filipinos. I don't want to say white people, right? I have Polish, Yugoslavian, you know, all of the nationalities.
Yeah.
We've had, Pakistanians, Ethiopians, Nigerians, right?
Is there a certain income level that you have to earn or not earn?
Well, yeah, exactly, right. And all depends on what your taste is and what you can afford. That's
Okay.
what it is. Your income level is what you're making or what you can make, right? So let's say, let's say I'm working, right? But I'm not working to my full potential, right? I'm working, I'm paying rent, and I could be going for a little bit more, but right now I'm comfortable where I am. But I want to buy a house. And the house I want to buy, let's say I can afford, I'm paying maybe rent $850 a month, right? So at NACA, if you're paying $850 in rent, you can afford an $850 mortgage, right? And those, looking at the numbers, that $850, depending on where you are, and the taxes will equate the home that you can afford. So that $850 might get you a home for $150,000.
Right.
That's how we equate it, right? So that mortgage number or that budget number equates with the larger number.
Gotcha.
Right. So that's what we're looking at. So if you've been paying a mortgage for 2 years, rent for 2 years, you can pay a mortgage, right? Because you're working, taking care of your bills. If you're paying your bills on time, then you know you're financially savvy. So what we do is we look at that. Then we're going to pull your credit, but not for your credit score.
Now that's unique.
That's unique. That's huge because the credit score is a way to keep people out of opportunities. We all know this, right?
Yes.
For instance, if you go to buy a car, you're shopping. You're shopping to buy a car, right, my brother? You're shopping. Hey, I'm going to check out this dealership here, see what he offers me. Then I'm going to go to this dealership over here, right? Women will date for a husband. I'm going to date this kind of guy and see what I like. I'm going to date that kind of guy and see what I like. Then they make a choice, right? No penalties there at all. But if you're trying to buy a car and you're shopping around, why is it that the credit bureau will ding your credit because you have inquiries on your credit? So now I have 3, 4, 5, 6 because I'm looking for the best deal for me, the best car, and they're all running my credit. And so the bad part is people don't know this, right? So if you're shopping for something like that, they say do it within a span of 2 to 3 months and make your decision so you're not pulling your credit all year long because all these
too
inquiries.
much pressure though. Hey, there was a freedom in that.
Exactly. There is no freedom. But when you think about it, it's just a societal issue because if you're rich or you have money, you're probably just gonna go to that one place and get what you want.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're not going to shop around. You're not going to look for the deals. You're not going to look for who has a special. Hey, that's what I want. I can afford. I'm going to get it.
And you get the car that you want, not what they want to give you.
Exactly, because your credit's already good.
Exactly.
But see, with us, we're shopping because we know we can't. We want the best that we can afford. Right? That's what it is. We need a car.
Yeah.
Really, we could all drive a little Honda Civic around here and be happy, but you can't do that. Because we have different tastes, different styles, different looks, different reasons for having that, right?
Right.
So we want the best that we can afford. Same thing with the house. Like I want to buy a house. Okay, I'm looking on Zillow, Redfin. Man, these houses are amazing. Backsplashes, dishwashers. They got dual this, dual that, showers with jets. I want that now.
Yeah.
But you can only afford $850, brother. That house costs $1,500 a month. Well, man, but that's what I want. Okay, that's what you want. This is what you do. Show me your payment shock, like in a car, right? If you're paying $850, what's the difference in $850 to $1,500? Save that money, still pay your bills. Show me you can afford it.
For how long do I have to do that?
As long as it takes. Might be 3 months, might be 6 months, depending on your credit and depending on how your money's coming in and your debt to income ratio, right? So the money you're bringing in, we're looking at it as 31% of your income, being what you're able to basically afford, right? But we can always boost that or negate that depending on your bills. Like if you have heavy debts, some people have like 13, 14, 15, 20, 30 credit cards, all with debt on each credit card, right? So that's a monthly debt. Like, so your minimum payment might be $30, but your maximum is $5,000 you got on the credit card plus the interest eating you up. The debt is killing you. Right.
Now you all only deal with one lender, right?
Right, we deal with Bank of America. That's where we had two. We had contract with Citibank and Bank of America, but now we're just doing with Bank of America. Right now we're dipping in the well of $13 billion for Bank of America to give out to people.
You're right.
So go on NACA.com, NACA NACA.com, sign up for the workshops and get a piece of the change.
Yeah,
right.
definitely.
But also, let's be honest, you're buying a house. So when you're going to buy a house, we offer somewhere. I got off on a tangent though. let's go back to the credit-wise, right? You're talking about how your credit changes.
Right.
With NACA, we don't look at your credit score because that's one of the reasons that we get closed out of the housing market, right? So you're buying a car, you're shopping around, your credit drops down to 500.
Right.
They tell you need a 620 credit score, 630 at least, 640 coming in the door.
Conversation.
I can't do nothing with that, right?
Right.
But so FHA and Fannie Mae say, okay, we'll bring it down to 580.
Right.
But with a 580, you got to have so much money on the table. You got to come like a security, right? Your credit sucks, so come with more money.
Yeah.
Because they make you viable.
Right. And you have to have like what they call it, PMI insurance.
PMI insurance, right? Private mortgage insurance. That means if you don't have the 20% down for a regular conventional loan, you're gonna have to pay that until you at least at 75, 80% of your loan is paid off, right?
Okay.
That 20%
Right.
that you have down.
So in NACA,
we don't do PMI. Right. There's no private mortgage because the reason why is because private mortgage insurance is insurance for the lender, not for you. If you falter on your loan, I got insurance on you. I still get my money, and you get foreclosed on, and the house goes back on the market. Right. So, what insurance? How does that insurance help you? It doesn't help you. So that's one of the things NACA looked like. What are the things that close us out the market? PMI doesn't help nothing for the person buying a home, so we're not going to even charge it. Bam, off the gate. And the PMI can easily be 3 to 7% of the full price of the loan. So you're talking anywhere from $60, $30 to $120 every month extra on top of your mortgage.
Yeah.
And for your government people out there who love Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, their PMI, or they call it MPI, is for the life of your loan. So your conventional loan, 20%, you through. Fannie Mae, they going to charge you till it's over. Till it's you in the dead, you in the grave. Give me my money out your back pocket.
Right. So the credit score, right?
The credit
so
score.
if I have no collections, I'm making my payment shock, my shock payments.
Well, let's not even go to payment shock yet. Let's just talk about credit score, right?
Okay.
The credit score is the great thing because we don't even look at your credit score. If you come to my office or we had a session, I'd pull your credit. I would tell you your credit scores, but personally, I'm looking to see if you're paying your bills on time.
Yeah.
I'm looking for liens, judgments, old properties, bankruptcies. I'm looking for things that are going to be in the way of you becoming qualified to buy a home.
Okay.
And that's what NACA does. It goes, okay, listen, let's look at the foibles you have, your debts. Let's look at the things that are stopping you from buying a home. If that's the case, right? Get a plan together and however many months or years it takes for you to get out of that situation to become viable to buy a home.
Now, do I have to be debt free?
No, nobody's debt free anyway.
Right, okay, all right.
You can't be debt free, but it's debt to income ratio.
And break that down.
It means the money that you bring in per month versus the money that goes out per month.
Right.
So
what if I got 2 jobs? Do you all count 2 jobs or just
one? It depends
one?
on how long you've been working them.
What if I've been working there a year?
If you're working there a year, you should be good. You should be good, right?
Right.
But it depends on how you work in that job. Like, let's say you want to use income from that second job. You got 2 jobs, right?
Right. Full-time and part-time.
Full-time, right. Full-time, part-time. Let's say you've been in a full-time job 3-4 years.
Right.
Been that solid.
Right.
Part-time job you just picked up because you want to buy a house in NACA, right? I just, I'm going to do this for a little, because most people pick up a part-time job sometimes just to get a little piece of change to make this happen. Right. So therefore, we know that if it's a temporary job, that income won't sustain you the 30 years of your mortgage.
Exactly.
So you can use that to save your money.
Yeah.
Right. But you can't use that towards the debt to income, your income ratio.
Right.
Because they're not solid.
So
but if you're doing it for more than a year, or 2 years, especially 2 years, it's more than likely you're going to keep on doing it, right?
Right.
Like somebody with Uber, you might drive Uber for 6 months. I'm not doing this no more, right? Some people, man, I've been driving Uber for 8 years. It's the best thing ever, right?
Yeah.
That's what it goes back down to.
Okay, gotcha.
But go back to the credit score thing too. So the credit score ties people out of buying a home. We don't look at the credit score. We look at your credit character. How are you paying your bills? Right?
I like that, man.
That's what it's about. So your credit score could be dinged because you had a medical procedure, like being born.
You got to go into the context of the situation. Sometimes they may look at the credit score and they see, okay, you've been late for 6 months, but they're not going into the backstory of it.
Dude, do you know, like, sometimes
or like even now the COVID situation?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people credit gonna be hit.
Yeah, but forget COVID. How about just being born?
Yeah.
Women, no, really. Women come to my office. A lot of our women and sisters don't even know that these hospitals put tags on them for having children, right? So the hospitals, I've seen crazy medical bills going to collection for the birth of a child. That's what it's all about.
In my case, what if you just coming home from prison?
Bam.
Because I think this is an excellent program for men and women who's coming home from prison. Because 2 things outside of a woman that men probably want when they come home, right? They need a place to stay.
Place to stay.
And
some chicken.
a place to stay for sure,
Right.
and some kind of employment.
Employment, number one.
Right, and a lot of times, either we can't get into a piece of property because they run your background check.
Right.
They're gonna say, okay, this person
Can't rent here.
can't rent here, right?
Right.
I know plenty of people.
Depending on the kind of felon you got. You ex-felon, you know,
Exactly, right.
depending on your record. Right.
And so, but that's why I think this program is so dope, man. You know, when I heard about it, I'm like, man, this is a no-brainer for me.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm also thinking about the men and women that I left behind. Like, look, if they knew about this program and can come home and start working the day they came home with a full-time job, right? Got their mind on right, and work that for a whole year, go through the whole steps or whatever, they can be a property owner in a year's time. Is that right or wrong?
I mean, that is the most opportunistic moment we want to have, right?
Yeah.
We want to have people who are incarcerated to be able to come home, because being incarcerated means you're supposed to have done your time for your crime.
Right.
So you're clean. It's supposed to be the slate is clean. Hey, come on back and be a part of society in a better way that you were, right? If that was the case, right?
Yeah.
But it's not that way for true. It's not that way. So what we want to do is we want to have inroads, and we're actually working with a group out in Vegas. They're doing the same kind of thing, where people who are coming home to the halfway homes, and they're getting into like the job programs. They're becoming employed, and then they want to know, what do I do? Because the departments are, certain kind of ways. So we're doing the same thing where, it's like if you have a full year. It's more about a goal though, right? We need to have our brothers and sisters who are coming home be goal oriented. Just like you said, I come home, I need to get something. I don't want to go back.
Right.
So you had a goal. Man, I need to get a job. I need to get a program or something, right? You found out, you did your research, the footwork, whatever you have to do to get yourself there.
Right.
We need more programming, defund the police. That's what it's all about. Because if brothers have more ends to get jobs, I'm not going to be out here robbing, shooting, and scamming, right? I can go to work and make some money. It's all about money. So I can go to work now.
Yeah.
So we get the programs for the job. You're working your job. You get your skills together. If you're doing that for a year, within a year, you have a year's worth of full-time employment history. Right? That's all you need.
Let me
really.
ask you this: will they take in consideration my employment before my incarceration?
As everything is, it depends on a case-by-case basis.
Okay.
Like it depends on how long you've been incarcerated. What were you doing before you were incarcerated? I mean, think about it. Some people work while they're incarcerated.
Exactly. That was my next question.
Yeah.
Like,
so you got to look
real,
at
really jobs.
Yeah.
Full-time skill sets,
full-time skill
electrician.
set jobs. Yeah. You might not getting the money that you're worth, the value, but
Exactly.
you're definitely working
not
a job.
getting the value.
Definitely slave labor for sure. Right.
Yeah.
We know this. So I mean, what we do is what we call advocating for members, and that means that every housing counselor, every mortgage loan officer, when they have a member that comes through, and you're a member because you're paying $25 a year for the service.
Okay.
People say, why I pay $25? I don't know. Because when you go to find a loan at a bank or a mortgage company, they usually charge you just to look at your paperwork for the loan.
Yeah.
$150 usually. You don't get the money back.
Yeah.
If you don't get a loan, see you. Out the door you go. Right. Our $25 a month is a membership, and that goes into a fee because we do so much more on the back end with our loans, right? And we did in the second part, right, on the back end, but the memberships. And and for a year, if you can supply yourself with work and full-time employment for a year, then you will have the necessity it takes for one to fulfill that requirement of working for a year, right? Now, for your housing for a year, you're going to be maybe in temporary housing, but all we want to know is where you're going to be and how you were, and if you had rent to pay, did you pay the rent? So we're going to verify where you were, right? So to me, when I look at my people, and like I said, every housing counselor and most no officer can advocate for people. I can advocate for you coming home from jail like I could advocate for somebody graduating from school. Right, because you say, well, I'm working for a year. Well, where you at the year before that? I was in school.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Right. Okay, you work for a year. I was locked up. Okay, fine. Right.
Yeah.
Doesn't make a difference. I'm looking at you from the point where you were working till now.
Right.
Right. And even if you're like maybe 8 months in the game, 6 months in the game, you want to come to NACA. Well, we're really looking at what's the plan going forward. Right. So sometimes people come in, I know I got a house, I know where I am. But like you're saying, if you're a brother or sister coming back home from being incarcerated, and you're trying to get your goals set together, I would say 6 to 8 months of working, then come to NACA, run your credit, do the membership thing, and have a good conversation of what it would take for you to become home savvy and at what price point it would take too. By price point, I mean your mortgages, right? Your mortgage number per month. What are you working at? What's your goal to be working at? Are you in a program now? Like I know a lot of brothers and sisters come home, they go in the CTA's Second Chance program, right? And they make a certain amount of money until they hit another level. Then there's another amount of money you make, right? So we're going to look at that too. So you're making this much now, you can afford this. But if you're going to get that raise in 3 to 6 months, and we know it's going to be like a great increasement to your employment, to your money, then let's wait that time. And then we can prove that money's coming in, and we can prove your income. Let's get you a higher PITR, principal, interest, taxes, insurance. That's your mortgage.
Okay, cool. All right, speaking of PITI, what are some of the other costs that's involved in that mortgage?
Right.
Like what do I got to pay out of pocket?
Right.
But I know there's no closing costs, right?
Right. You get frantic. I saw the magazine cover. It said no down payment, no closing costs, no PMI. I ain't got no money. I want to get a house. I'll pay rent every month. I ain't got a dime to my name. I want a house. You told me no down payment. Listen, I get it all the time. Yeah. We're in sessions, man. We having these meetings, and there'd be 400 people before COVID, right? 1,000 people sitting in the stadium. Oh, yeah, I don't have nothing. Okay, well, listen, we got to work with something, though. Yeah. Because buying a house, there's a cost, right? There's a cost for everything. And you got to have some skin in the game, too. Right. So for NACA to be a not-for-profit to charge $25 a membership, we're gaining support from the Bank of America and other entities to support our members, right? So that means that as you come through, you won't have a down payment, you won't have a closing cost, you won't have PMI, but you have to have some kind of savings, right? You have to have money in your bank account. We're going to make sure you have enough money to have a surplus of money in your account, because when you buy a home, there are things to go with buying a home. Right. So first thing, we're going to have a home inspection, $500 in Chicago.
Okay, got you.
Re-inspection, $50, so $550 out the gate.
Okay.
People say, well, I don't want no inspection. I say that little $5. Okay, that's fine, but when your house is crumbling, your foundation ain't no good, the electricity's warped, you got squirrels up in the attic, you got roaches and termites and all this kind of stuff in the house.
You wish you got that inspection.
Man, you need it.
Yeah.
But see, that's one of the things too they used to do to us was they used to sell black and brown people homes and say, don't worry about the inspection, knowing the house is already faulty.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I mean, it's a scam on that part. Right. So you got that, right? You have the escrow money for your insurance, because you have to pay your insurance for the year, right?
How much that might be?
It depends on the home you buy.
Okay.
Remember, everything is an estimate.
Okay.
Because we don't know what you're going to buy.
Okay.
So what we're looking at, everything we're looking at is always an estimate until you find the home, and then the negotiations get into play. That's when you really make some money, right? Where you can do the deal. Yeah. But you got the inspection money, re-inspection money. You have to escrow your taxes. You're going to have to escrow your insurance payment. So that's just money you have to have, right?
When you say escrow, man, you got to put that up.
Right, put that. It has to be in the bank.
Okay.
So we want to use one account. We want to use a housing account. I tell everybody right now, when you start your goal out, if you're saving your money, quit letting your money sit in that checking account thinking you fly. Thinking, oh, I got $4,000 in my checking. How much you got to save in 3? Right? Yeah. Put that money in the savings and stop looking at it like you're doing something, right? Because the more you save, if that number grows, the better you feel. And sometimes I think we get in the habit of like looking at that number, right? Yeah. Ooh, when I got $20 at the ATM, I got $2,300. Man, move that money, because if you moving that money, you want to keep moving money, right? You want to keep doing things to save money if that's your goal to buy a house, right? So also, the seller wants the money to take his house off the market. So if you're serious, right, I'll give him $1,000. And that's the money it takes to take and that's the cost that you get back at the closing table. But that's like saying, hey, brother, are you trying to sell a house? Or excuse me, ma'am, are you trying to sell your house? Right. I would like to put a contract in on your piece of property. So I'm going to give you $1,000, $500, $25, however many of the negotiation you and the person.
Well, what if I said I want 5% of the cost of the property?
There won't be 5. Nah,
up to 5%.
Well, you can ask for anything.
Okay, right.
Man, you can ask for anything. This is what I'm going to give you though. Because a NACA mortgage is 100% qualified. Once you're 100%, like the money's 100% guaranteed, and we don't do pre-approvals. There's no pre-qualification. When you come through NACA and you drop all your documents off, you go through everything you need to go through, you are 100% qualified to purchase a home. Okay, that's the thing.
And there's no predatory interest rates. 10%.
Nah, everybody thinks a bait and switch. It's too good to be true. Yeah. No down payment, no closing costs, PMI. I don't believe you. You're lying to me.
Hey, I tell people about the program all. They're like, what's the catch?
But
Say,
listen, we
listen,
black
man,
and brown.
listen.
We're looking for the catch because our community is catchable. All we've been is we've been caught.
Been caught, right?
We've been caught, right? Hey, come over here, do this. Oh, come on down to Tuskegee. We doing some free medicine. Oh, okay, cool. You gave me syphilis. Damn. It's like, wait a minute. You lying to me. There's a catch. It was free medicine.
Switch.
Right. It's a bait and switch, and that's why right now, thanks to the laws, after the huge housing crash, you can't do bait and switches anymore. It's illegal. So the fact that we even say no down payment, no closing costs, no PMI, it would be against the law. As a matter of fact, the feds came to the NACA doors in Boston, knocking on the door. It's the feds. What did y'all want? Y'all got no closing costs, no down payment, no PMI, and you say you're the best mortgage in America. That is false advertising and against the law. So Bruce, our CEO said, okay, listen, open the books. Okay. It's been 2 weeks in our office going through the books, going through our program. You're the best mortgage in America, no down payment, no closing costs, no PMI. Carry on.
Right.
I mean, that's just the way it is, though, right? So, so you got your money. We talking about the money, though, right?
Yeah,
the
all
money
the
you
costs
need.
that's involved with purchasing.
So there are a couple of costs, right? Number one, how do you buy a house depending on your situation? The usual way to do it is look at what you're paying in rent. You want to get either less than you're paying in rent, which would be the opportune thing, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm paying $1,200 in rent, I really want to pay $1,000 in the mortgage, really, or $800, right? Or if I'm paying $1,400 in rent, whatever it is, I want to pay less in the rent and get more space for less money.
Right.
That would be the opportune thing, right?
Yeah, less the mortgage.
Yes, the mortgage, exactly. That's one. The other one is, well, what if you got a roommate? So your rent is $1,400, you're only paying $700, right? But you can afford $1,400 on your own, but because you're single, you don't need to have an apartment that big, right? But now you're about to get engaged, or you just want to move on, you want to upgrade. Yeah. How do you make that happen? So if I'm paying $700, I should see a savings in your bank account of $700 a month, along with you paying and saving an extra amount of money, which proves that $1,400 a month you can save, you can pay in a mortgage easily without dipping into it. Because you can't call the mortgage company, hey, you know what? I gave you that $1,400, but let me get back $300 right quick because I want to go on this vacation, and I'll slide that back to you into the month, right? Yeah. So that's when your savings pattern, we want you to save as you are paying a mortgage, right? We know things happen though, right? So if things happen, we can always discuss it, talk about it, advocate for you. But for the most part,
gotta have a reason behind it.
It's got to be a real reason, right? A real reason. Yeah. And that's life though, right? Because sometimes you won't pay your mortgage. Maybe somebody gets. I hate to say it, but somebody gets. Maybe there's physical violence, right? Or stray bullets that we've seen this in Chicago a lot of times. Right. If you got to pay that medical bill, maybe you might be behind your mortgage that month. Right. I mean, it's just a fact. Yeah. So
now, also, you guys, we talked about this too. It's not only just single family homes, but the 2 units, the 3
properties,
units,
multi-units,
and that's my thing, man.
Everybody.
I harp on that because I understand that
everybody.
It's about that income. As you and I both know. You can get fired from that job and can't make that. That mortgage.
You have
on that home.
to get it. We have to get it. So we have to get it. I'm saying it again. We have to get it. Listen, Inglewood, South Shore, Chatham, Cragen, Pilsen. I don't care where you at. The neighborhoods you are in. We have to buy back our neighborhoods.
Buy back the block.
Listen, it's the truth because I don't know if you know it now. A lot of homes in Inglewood are now owned by our Middle Eastern brothers who own liquor stores too. So a lot of homes you see that are for sale that have been boarded up for years, they sitting on it. Right. They don't live in our neighborhoods. They don't care about our neighborhoods. So the plight that sits there, the drug, infestation is there. I mean, the properties that are there can be doing anything, right? We need to have them homes open because listen, if we have homes that are occupied in our blocks, that means there's money in the neighborhood. Yeah. That means there's eyes on the neighborhood, and that means that there's tax money in the neighborhood too.
Exactly, yeah.
And there's nothing there that can cause plight in our neighborhood. An empty building is nothing but something for kids to come break some windows on board, for some hypes to go in the house, people turning all kind of whatever is going on. Right. I mean, it's just a situation we're really in.
So you also have a landlord program, correct?
No, we don't have a landlord program, but we send you to one.
Okay.
The thing is, you can't buy a piece of property without being a landlord, without having a landlord certificate. What it is, we realize that one of the ways that our communities can come up and make money is through real estate. It's through multi-properties, like 2, 3s, and 4s, and mixed-use properties, right? So we said, okay, let's make it happen. How do we make it happen in NACA? Number one, your budget has to change a little bit more. If you're buying a home, you need to have like a surplus of $200 a month at least, right? You have to pay your bills, you're saving. With the building, a multi-unit property, you need to have $400 a month, right? And then we're going to make you have a surplus. There's no down payment, but you have to have money in the bank. Why is that? In case something happens. Right? So even with buying a home, a single family home, or condos, we still ask for people to have surpluses in the bank, because if something happens, you have a cushion to back up on. So if you're buying a building, if you're buying a 2-flat property, then we want to see 4 months of that mortgage in the bank. So if your 2-flat property is costing you $1,200 or $1,000 a month, $4,000 in the bank, plus the other fees on top of that $4,000. So you might be looking at having maybe $9,000 in the bank. The $5,000 for fees, the $4,000 for surplus. Right. There's no down payment. The fees are the fees. You have to pay those anyway.
When you say the fees, you're talking about those inspection costs,
stuff
like that in the beginning,
and those are higher with the multi-property, because you have more spaces, right? You have 2 properties to inspect, 3 properties to inspect, the whole thing. So what we're looking at is you having a surplus. So for a 2-unit, it's 4 months of that mortgage payment in the bank. For a 3-unit, it's 5 months of mortgage payment in the bank. And for a 4-unit, it's 6 months of mortgage payment in the bank. Now, what does that do? If, for instance, you say you got a tenant and that tenant is crazy and knows all the rules and not going to pay you a dime and knows how to get over. Number one, you've had the landlord class, so you know how to do with your business, handle your business. Number 2, now you have a surplus in the bank, so if you have to fight that person in court or that money's not coming in,
you can still make your mortgage.
I can still make my mortgage, right? Until I can fight that person. It used to take about 6 months to get a person out of a building.
That's
so
6 months
it's
of
like
lost
we're
income.
really setting you up for success. Right? In a regular situation, they want you to have 3 months of the mortgage in the bank, and a conventional loan, everybody else. We ask for more because we know things happen more with our communities, right? And not just that, but if you have more, you're more comfortable.
Definitely.
Right? You're not working, oh my God, you know what? I spent all my money and I know dude upstairs not paying his rent because he got knocked out of COVID. So that's 6 months, he ain't better work. I gotta pick up some more hours, I gotta drive Lyft and Uber, I gotta start delivering. You can't enjoy your house, you're working for the house. You know what I'm saying?
It makes
sense. That's what it's about.
One last thing, right before we wrap things up: rehab.
Oh yeah,
say I want to be able to purchase a 3-unit, a 4-unit, multi-unit apartment building, but I want to get some. I want to gut it out, right? I want to straight gut rehab. Break that down to me.
Okay, for NACA, this is the thing, right? And people love to say, I literally said gut rehab. I watched all the shows. I'm going to come in and I'm going to gut it out for $20,000. It's going to be rehab for $100,000. Right? Okay, here's the thing. NACA would not allow you to get into a situation that takes you over your head. Okay, so if you have a building or even a home, right? Let's talk about the building first, because that's one thing you're talking about for sure. You have a building, you want to rehab it. Okay, cool. New kitchens, new baths, maybe some windows, some tuck point, that kind of stuff, no problem. But if you go in and it's to the studs and we're not sure that as you break things down, other things might pop up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I took this whole thing down and find out all the pipes are asbestos. Oh my God, right? Because that's what happens in rehabs. That's why people who do rehabs have a surplus of money. They come with a crew already. Right? A seasoned crew, because they know what to do when the job gets done. Now what we do is we have a hand department, and our hand department handles it walks you hand in hand through your rehab. So we have professionals, so we won't get gouged on prices. Right. And we work with licensed, insured, and bonded professionals. So we have a list of our own. You can work with your own professional if you want to, but also they know the NACA product of the NACA means, right? Because NACA uses software. And basically, anybody who wants to work with NACA, if you're outside realtor, if you're a plumber, electrician, if you're doing inspections,
there's
whatever you do.
There's no realtor cost neither, right?
No. There's no realtor cost.
Okay, cool.
Exactly. We have in-house realtors, so no, none of that. They can become a vendor. Right. Anybody can be a vendor and work with NACA as well. We're always looking for that, ways to make money in the neighborhood. Right. But back to the question, how to rehab. We're going to rehab it up to the cost where it makes sense. Like in your budget and your timeline and the work that has to be done. If all of these things equate where it makes sense financially, then they're going to say yes. But if the building is too much, like if the rehab is too much to take on really, and we know that, you're not prepared for that kind of weight, then our underwriters might say no.
Okay.
So those are some of the things we get, some people get mad, but I had a woman who bought a house in Inglewood. Her first choice was a house, there were only like 6 houses on the whole block. Huge. Yeah. She bought it from a guy who owned 3 of the houses on the block. He had redid his house beautiful. So in her mind, she envisioned the same thing. Yeah. But she didn't envision all of the cost it would take. So she found another house. The next house she found was a foreclosed house. But the dude had just did everything to it, but lost it, right? Okay. So she found the house. She had instant equity when she bought that house, right? And it's done.
Yeah. So now, you can purchase a foreclosed property.
Yeah. I listen. I say that all the time. Look at your money. How can money work for you?
Exactly.
Right? If you get qualified, so your payment affords you a total price of $225. Yeah. Why not find your house for $175, $180?
Makes sense.
On a foreclosure.
What about a pre-foreclosure though?
Well, whatever you can find.
Okay.
All right. Cool. You work with your realtor, whatever you can find.
Gotcha.
Right. As long as it's not an auction. We can't do auctions. We don't do that. And you can't buy land, have a home built. Right. Okay, but if you have a developer who's bought the land, has got the plans, and said, hey, listen, we're going to build this house here, you can buy that. New construction, all that. Right. It's just like any other mortgage product, except that we're really looking out for our members. I mean, like we're gonna, and some people get mad. I love them too because they're like, oh my God, I only got qualified for $1,200. I wanted $1,600. But ma'am, you don't make that much money. Right. You just don't. Well, the bank told me I can get it for $1,600, and guess what? You can get it for $1,600 because they don't care. And as soon as you buy that home, 3 months later, they're going to sell your loan. No, they'll sell your loan to a servicer, and they make money off having your loan first of all. Then they make money off selling your loan to a servicer. Right? That's what they do. We don't sell our loans because if you get in trouble with your loan, you can come back to NACA, man. You can get a grant. Yeah. We can push your mortgage back maybe a month or 2 in arrears to give you some room.
Man, we can go on and on with this, right?
Yeah, it's a great program. The best program in the world.
It's definitely a great program. One last thing, and I forgot to touch on this, right? You have to stay in that property for the life of the loan?
The life of the loan.
Okay, so what happens if I decide to sell that property or even refinance that property?
Refinance, go to another company. I mean, I say do it all the time. I mean, there's opportunities out here for everybody.
Okay, gotcha.
And not just that, though, but if, like you're saying, I think one of the best things for people coming home right now is to get them a goal. Yeah. Right? And get you a 5, 6, 8, 9, 15-year goal. And if you do property, think of it this way. If you go to NACA first, to everybody, NACA should be your first piece of property.
This is for the men and women that's coming home.
Yeah, right.
Or anybody. But definitely we focus on
You focus on re-entry right too, right? So this is how we're gonna do it. You're gonna go through NACA first. The reason why is because NACA is going to force you to have a surplus of money. Right? So if you can get a 3 or 4 flat, you can save your money, you hustling, doing whatever, you got a job,
but we can't say do whatever.
Well, I mean, I'm messing with you. If you making taco dinners on Tuesday, if you making spaghetti dinners for the church, because the church, I mean, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Legally, connecting our community positively. Let me rephrase all my wording. Right. Because we can do stuff positively and make money in a good way.
Exactly.
We always have. Before the drug game came out, we've been hustling, making dresses and clothes and everything else. Let's get back to that, right? Yeah. So that's why I'm glad. Maybe COVID might do something for these because people can do their sewing machines again, get to making some money. But if you're making this money, right, and you're saving your money, you can come to NACA, man, and really do it. And then if you have a surplus of money, it's in your bank. So that means you have a piece of property that has income coming in, and you still have your job, and you have the surplus of money in the bank.
Now you can buy more property.
And then I would say, my brothers and sisters, look to Gary, Indiana, look to properties that are almost dirt cheap, that people are not going to move from. I'm telling you, we got to look at people and places right by us. Look at Iowa. Like there are communities we could be buying homes in and renting homes out and making money.
Definitely, yeah. Well, listen.
And I want to come back and talk about, I want to come back and talk about Gary, Indiana. And I'm going to plug you with my sister out in Gary. The reason being is that if people don't know, but Gary, Indiana is losing about 500 homes in their Section 8 department. They're tearing down some housing in Gary right now. Wow. And people in the Section 8 homes can't afford to buy the homes. But if you can go out there, even a slab home, for $10,000, you can rent out for $700 a month.
Yeah, you get your money back in a couple years.
Hello?
Yeah.
So we got to start thinking about ways to invest, thinking about ways, areas, and keep talking to each other, man. 1,000%, bro.
I love it. Thank you, man, for coming on. Tim Armour, man. NACA.com, the best program.
Yes.
Housing program out there, man. I'm going through it myself. It's a great program, man, especially for the men and women who's coming home, looking for a place to stay, not only just to stay, but to actually own.
You're right. You want to own. If you want
wanna
to
own.
buy the house.
You want to buy back the block.
house. You want to be able to get a house to your loved ones.
Exactly.
Get a house to your daughter, your son, your niece, your nephew, whatever.
Yeah.
That's what the whole housing, making money, supportive was about. It's about you buying a home to the point where when you bought it, the next generation has it.
Right.
They can borrow money off of it. They can keep it. They can sell it. Whatever. But it's wealth.
So
that
what?
you can
So
transfer.
what can we find you, man? Is it NACA.com? Do they reach out to them, go through the whole process? I know right now you guys are doing like a webinar.
We're doing webinars on the weekends because of COVID hit us. We're doing webinars. Go to NACA.com, sign up for a webinar, do the Monday night webinar that shows you how to do the web file because you have your documentation you need to put up.
Yeah.
We have a special software that you can use from your house, clicking buttons, right? Applying for loans for $100, $200, $300,000 at your couch with a glass of wine. Like, let's be cool with it. You know, like really, but it can make it happen. And it can be easy. NACA is tedious, meaning that we want those bills. We want to see your credit worthiness, your character, right? Where you might, financially where you are. But after that, it's easy.
Yeah. Well, there y'all got it, man. Thanks again, man, for coming on.
Man, I'm coming back again. Please invite me back again one day.
I definitely got to get you coming on, man.
Yes.
You got so much information. Got to get it out to the people.
Yes.
You can listen to Escaping the Odds podcast on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Got the YouTube channel, Escaping the Odds, Facebook, Escaping the Odds, Instagram, Escaping the Odds podcast.
Dude, Escape the Odds, I'm with you.
We are everywhere.
Man,
we are everywhere, definitely. And we are buying back the block with NACA. And so you guys go check that out. Thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe.
Keep listening, keep tuning in, don't stop.
Definitely share.
Spread the word, baby.
Thank you.
You got to.
Peace.